Thank you so much, Brendan, for that lively and informed speech. Now we're delighted to move to our third opposition speaker of the evening, Damsith Wimalasena. Damsith is a second-year student at Lucy Cavendish reading Land Economy. Damsith, you have the ears of the House.
Thank you very much, Nick, for that lovely introduction. Now, when I initially auditioned for this debate, I think it might have been a wonder to Sammy as to why the Sri Lankan guy is trying to discuss Europe. It's like getting an Italian to cook Sri Lankan food. But what I thought I could offer the table is an international perspective to this debate. Regarding the European Union, any person around the globe outside of Europe believes that the equivalent of Brexit is like shooting yourself in the foot. That I personally believe that Brexit was one of the dumbest decisions the UK has ever made. But today's motion is not about discussing whether this House believes in the European Union. It's about believing whether this House believes in the United States of Europe. And the question itself invites us to explore the complex tapestry of history, culture, and politics that defines Europe. It makes us consider the vision of a unified continent, where borders are not barriers. It also compels us to confront the realities of such an ambition, the challenges of integrating diverse nations into a cohesive federation, the preservation of individual nations amidst a collective identity, and the practicalities of governance on such an unprecedented scale. Now, before I start to talk about the diversity of Europe, I would love if all of us could simply decide to stand under a unified banner of a single anthem. But the reality is very much different. As I would take a personal anecdote, like my attempt to diet, the reality is far more complicated and fraught with disappointment. At the heart of Europe's strength lies its diversity. 47 nations, each with unique histories, cultures, languages, and legal systems. This diversity enriches the European tapestry, contributing to its global stature and character. The proposition to meld these distinct identities into a single federal structure challenges the very essence of national sovereignty and identity. Nations in Europe cherish their sovereignty, a testament to their ability to self-govern and preserve their cultural heritage and tradition. On that point. My speech is quite good, so I'll continue. A move towards a United States of Europe risks diluting these identities, potentially eroding centuries of history and cultural distinctiveness in the pursuit of uniformity. Moreover, the failed referendums on the European Constitution in France and the Netherlands serve as a potent illustration of the complexities surrounding sovereignty and national identity within the EU. These events starkly highlight the depth of public sentiment regarding national sovereignty and the preservation of distinct national identities. The rejection of the EU constitution by France in 2005, where 55% of voters voted against the proposal, and by Netherlands, again in 2005, with 61% voting against, represents a clear expression on the populace's desire to maintain their national sovereignty and identity. These referendums were not merely votes on a legal document, but were reflections of deeper concerns among the citizens of these founding EU nations. The outcomes signal a caution against the dilution of centuries-old national identities and the erosion of sovereignty in the pursuit of an overly uniform federal structure. The French and the Dutch rejections underscored the significance that the citizens place on their ability to govern themselves according to their own laws, traditions, and cultural values. The proposal of a European constitution, perceived as a step towards further political integration, sparked fears of losing these valued aspects of national identity. This sentiment is a testament to the diversity that defines Europe, a diversity that is seen as a strength rather than a weakness. These instances of democratic expression reveal the challenges inherent in attempting to consolidate the EU's member states into a single federal entity. They remind us of the importance of respecting the unique identities and sovereign rights of the member nations. As we debate the future of Europe, let us not overlook the lessons from these referendums. The path towards deeper integration must tread carefully, ensuring that it does not come at the expense of national sovereignty and identities that enrich the European tapestry. Treading the same path of logic, it could be argued that the political heterogeneity of Europe further complicates the proposition of the United States of Europe. The continent is home to a variety of governance systems, from parliamentary democracies to constitutional monarchies, each with its distinct political culture and institutional framework. Achieving a consensus on the form and structure of a unified government would be a daunting task, fraught with debates over sovereignty, representation, and the distribution of power between the central authority and member states. The prospect of integrating the diverse legal, economic, and social systems of Europe's nations under a single administrative umbrella presents significant challenges. The European Union's struggle with bureaucracy and resource allocation offers a glimpse into the complexities of managing such a vast and diverse entity. With protests erupting just this week in Brussels over EU green bureaucracy, with European farmers having already set fires in front of the European Parliament and toppling a statue. As such, the harmonization of regulation, standards, and social policies across member states would entail considerable economic and administrative costs, potentially sparking discontent and resistance among populations concerned about the loss of national autonomy and the implications for local customs and practices. Moreover, the concept of the United States of Europe presents significant challenges, particularly in the realm of national security policy, where the diverse strategic interests and defense policies of member states pose a formidable obstacle to unity. The divergent perspectives on NATO, relations with global powers like Russia, and differing approaches to international conflicts highlight the complexities of achieving a unified stance. For instance, the recent escalations in the Gaza Strip has exposed deep divisions within the European Union. This discord extends to the EU's approach towards Russia, where the unified front in support of Ukraine is contradicted by actions such as Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban's engagement with Russian President Vladimir Putin. So, in light of these considerations, it is argued that a more pragmatic and respectful approach to European integration is warranted. Rather than striving for an overreaching federal structure, efforts should be directed towards strengthening existing frameworks of cooperation, fostering economic convergence, and celebrating the cultural and linguistic diversity of Europe. By building on the successes and learning from the challenges faced by the European Union, we can envision a future where Europe is united in its diversity, cooperation, and mutual respect, rather than constrained by an imposed uniformity, much like the United States of Europe. Thank you very much.